Hello and welcome to Planeo. I'm Dominic and today we're here for balcony renovation. What do we need to pay attention to? In particular, everything here is already pretty mossy and covered in green. We clean all of that first with a pressure washer, then use a renovation solution. What does it do? It targets the bacteria and fungi that are on this surface. First, we kill them off, then the stones that are lying on the ground will be removed. Yeah, easy. WPC planks installed. We work with a grid substructure made of lightweight aluminum. This is going to be an interesting project, so just stay tuned right here. I'll start right away by removing the stones. Now we've removed and cleaned everything. So far so good. At some point the balcony was sealed with an angle grinder. It's still in good condition, but we said we want to do it properly this time. That means we're going to seal it again right now with a layer of flexible waterproof slurry. So just stay tuned. Now we're going to treat it once more with fungicide. For this kind of microbacterial infestation like green algae and bacteria that are still on the surface, which you can't even see right now. But this is a step you should always take whenever you're working on something outdoors, anything involving facades and exterior painting work. You always have to do this step. It's actually really important. It's simply applied with a thick brush. It's a clear solution. So as I said, you do this after sandblasting. It must stay on the surface 24 hours. Must be the one on the surface that really fought everything, kills off whatever is still sitting there before you start painting. That's crucial. The first part simply, now let's get started. Substructure. Now we already have the aluminum rails here. So they've already been cut to size and roughly laid out at the right length. And we noticed there's a dip in the middle of the floor, easily about 4 centimeters deep. Of course we have to even that out somehow, and that's what these feet are for. They'll also go on aluminum laminated rubber pads, which is important to prevent plasticizer migration. Make sure to pay attention. In this case, as I said, because of the dip, we're using the slightly thicker foot in the middle and the smaller ones on the outside. Now we need to carefully level it out. Well, more or less, that's it. For now, we're roughly placing it to see how high we need to go, and you can always fine tune it later. That's easy to adjust right here on the feet. This will be done roughly first, then we will screw and then we'll adjust them. Listening brings the support into place. And as I said, that's the crucial thing here. When we lay the long aluminum slats over the top and put on the counterbattens, everything has to be level beforehand. So that's the key point right now. Now we already have a short piece here, meaning, let's see, we can go right up to under the windowsill here. And at the bottom, we have a noticeable gap of approximately 24 millimeters. Now we have a little margin of about 5 millimeters. That's really not a big deal, but at least we have our reference value. Now that we've cut everything to size and also marked where the rails will run, for the following reason. First, we're going to slide one side back again. Then we'll use our planeo distance tape for decoupling for the rails, so that they don't touch each other, because that's exactly what we don't want, for it to be that loud. And we stick it simply underneath each time. For the endless connection of the aluminum construction, these wonderful pieces here. The rail is now 40 centimeters long, so we'll do it roughly halfway at 20 centimeters. We carefully slide it in. Then we put in the counterpart. Now we'll make a drilling process on this side right here. And then once again, exactly on the opposite side, turn it once, and then our substructure is in place so far. I've applied the decoupling layer and also spread it out completely across the top for extra coverage. That way it doesn't rattle as much. When we carefully lay our decking boards on top, everything is level. Does that fit? Nothing wobbles either. Are all the feet secure? Yes, and then you can almost get started. But what do I need to pay attention to? Because here we really have everything, curves, cutouts. That's why we made ourselves a template, because it was a bit tricky here on this small balcony. And now, normally we start with these start clips, but sadly we can't use them here because we cut away the groove here. This is a special case. That means we will screw the first board directly into the substructure right away. So here we are at the product. This is our planeo and terrace board. This is a brand new one we have here, and I can only recommend it. Not only does it look absolutely super stylish, it is splinter-free, slip-resistant, robust, weather-resistant, and low maintenance. Well, you really can't go wrong with it, especially since it's also very lightweight. We actually have several in our range, but I have to say with this one, the first thing I noticed when we had the 5-meter boards, they first put us in a company. You could immediately tell that they are also quite easy to handle. So it's a lightweight material. It can also be cut really well with a jigsaw. But I have to say, so far, I'm still really quite impressed with the product. CoreX 160-degree encapsulation provides extra protection, especially against fading in particular. It also protects against water penetration, cracking, stains and scratches, and most importantly, mold formation. So as I said, it's a great product. I can only recommend it. But now let's move on. All right, I'll demonstrate this again real quick. Start clip, that's this one here. And this is the connecting clip, wondering what a start clip is for. Later on, we'll have a 4mm gap here. It always fits pretty precisely, and we'll place them like this right here. So always on these, that's why they're spaced 30mm apart, so that you definitely have enough also with the spacing. And then these will go in like this later, and that's how we get our gap. And then I basically keep tensioning them again and again, and so that the last piece doesn't slip away, because I also have to maintain the distance to the wall, which is 1 centimeter in length. I use this clip. I place it right here. Then I use a marker to draw a light line here as a guide, so I know where it goes. Beforehand, check and roughly place all the starter clips against the wall, push them up to the wall, leave a 1 centimeter gap, and quickly mark it. Then remove the board again, and then attach the starter clip at my marking, but don't tighten it yet. And later I just slide them into the board like this, and it can't slide on the wall. When I continue with the next boards, which is really absolutely important for us to remember, as I said, we still need to fix them tightly, but I just wanted you to see that. But let's keep going. Here's another little tip for you. When you're working on the back row now, when you've pushed the boards forward, do the back row. Don't fasten them completely yet. Carefully put the next board in place. And when I attach the clips now, I secure them first. And once they're secured, then I carefully screw them in tightly. We've already roughly laid it out with the boards, and now we're going to place them here in front of us like this. On one side, they have these teeth, and those always go into the first board, and then later we just carefully push it up against here. Of course, we have to pay a bit of attention. We have a hole for the screw, those are always included. When you order them, that is to say, you always get these connecting clips as well. All the matching screws are also included. So we always have a little pack of small screws included. We have these handy clamps. We also have them in our range at Planeo, and I would definitely, absolutely always recommend them. Once we have a few rows done, so that they don't slip anymore, especially when screwing. We've already just adjusted them to fit. Then we just clamp them in between here like this, and that way the board can't slip anymore. It's very important that they must not be tightened too much now. It's enough if they sit in there somewhat loosely, so don't screw them in too tightly. And I have to say, it's a very simple system. I can definitely only recommend it. They also must not be tensioned too tightly. So just click them in and then really just make a minor adjustment. Just enough so that they can be shifted into place again, but mustn't face much the palpable tension in the air. So now we're at that point again. The best part in a craftsman's life, we're pretty much done with our little balcony renovation. It worked out quite well. By the way, it looks great really. The floor looks super nice. Definitely get a sample of it sent to you for yourself. The main component is PVC, but it also contains wood fibers. They've incorporated those into the surface. So when you touch it, it really does feel like real wood. Autentica solid wood plank from Planeo in Basalt Gray, a sample sent to you. Absolutely. I'm honestly so impressed with this flooring. It was super easy to work with. It really looks absolutely stunning without a doubt. So, as I said, don't hesitate, they're free. The samples we have, as I said, we have applied a coat of pure color on top. I already mentioned that in the intro. We just did that a moment ago. Treated it with fungicide, pure color. That's the case if I know the previous facades has been applied, then I always recommend a pure color. That way you're just playing it safe. Unless you have a mineral-based system and you know it, then all is fine. You can use a mineral-based facade paint, like a silicate facade paint on top. But nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed the video so far. So feel free to give it a like, give us a thumbs up, hit the bell, check out our info box again. There you'll find all the information about the materials we used here, as I said. And yeah, well, we've pretty much at this point reached the end. So if you have any other questions, please email us or give us a call. We have a super competent team at Planeo. Yes, and now we've already reached the end. We're already looking forward to the next project, so stay tuned. See you then. Bye.